Listen to me very carefully. We are witnessing the end of an era. For decades, we have been told a specific story. We were told that if you want to play high-end games, you need a giant box. You need a machine that is loud. You need a machine that gets hot. You need to spend $500, $600, or even $700. This was the rule of the gaming world. But that rule is about to be broken. The era of the $500 gaming console is dying. Most people just haven't noticed it yet. We are too busy looking at the wrong things. We are arguing about the PlayStation 5 Pro. We are waiting for the Nintendo Switch 2. We are looking at frames per second on giant PCs. But while we were looking over there, Apple was building a weapon in the dark. They have been very quiet about it. For the last 10 years, they have essentially tricked us. They convinced us that the little black box under our TV was just a toy. They called it a hobby. They told us it was just for watching movies or checking the weather. But the leaks for the 2026 Apple TV 4K tell a different story. This is not a streaming stick anymore. This is a trap. And Apple is about to spring it on the entire gaming industry. Why is everyone so furious right now? It is because we are finally realizing the truth. The technology to replace our bulky consoles has been right here the whole time. It was sitting in front of us. But Apple held it back on purpose. They waited for the perfect moment. In 2026, the chains are coming off. We need to talk about something called the thermal unleashing theory. This is the most important part of the story. If you understand this, you understand why the gaming world is in trouble. Let's look at the heart of the machine. Let's look at the A17 Pro chip. You probably recognize that name. It is the chip inside the iPhone 15 Pro. When that chip came out, Apple told us it was a miracle. They said it was the most powerful mobile chip ever made. They weren't lying about the power, but they were hiding how it actually works. You see, inside an iPhone, that chip is like a caged animal. It is a Ferrari engine inside a golf cart. It wants to go fast. It wants to roar. But it can't. Why can't it? Because of physics. An iPhone is tiny. It has no fan. It has a small battery. When you play a heavy game like Resident Evil on an iPhone, the chip gets hot. Within 10 minutes, the phone realizes it is melting. So, what does it do? It slows down. This is called thermal throttling. The chip lowers its own power so it doesn't break the phone. You start with great graphics, and 10 minutes later, the frame rate drops. The phone gets hot in your hand. The battery drains in an hour. This is the limitation of a phone. But now, imagine taking that exact same chip and putting it in the 2026 Apple TV. The environment changes completely. Think about the physics here. The Apple TV doesn't care about a battery. It plugs directly into the wall. It has access to infinite energy. It doesn't have to save power. More importantly, the Apple TV box is much bigger than a phone. It has a massive cooling chamber. Some leaks even suggest it will have a silent, high-efficiency fan system. When you put the A17 Pro, or the newer A18 and A19 variants, into this box, you aren't getting the mobile version. You are getting the unleashed version. This chip can run at its maximum speed forever. It doesn't have to slow down. It doesn't have to worry about getting hot. This means sustainable peak performance. This is the difference between a sprinter and a marathon runner. The iPhone is a sprinter, it gets tired fast. The 2026 Apple TV will be the marathon runner. It will maintain high speeds for hours. What does this mean for you, the gamer? It means hardware-accelerated ray tracing. Ray tracing is the holy grail of modern gaming. It makes light look real. It makes reflections look like real life. On a console, this takes a lot of power. On a phone, it kills the battery. But on the new Apple TV, it will just work. It will run AAA titles like Cyberpunk 2077, Assassin's Creed Mirage, and Death Stranding. These are games that people usually buy a PlayStation or a high-end PC to play. Imagine playing Cyberpunk on a device that costs $200. Imagine that device fits in the palm of your hand. It doesn't make noise. It doesn't take up space on your shelf. This would make the Nintendo Switch look like a calculator. The Switch is a great console, but its hardware is old. It struggles to run modern games. Apple is coming for that market. They aren't trying to beat Roku or Amazon Fire Stick. They are building a PlayStation killer that costs half the price. This shift is happening because of silicon. Apple is now a chip company first. They make the most efficient 3nm chips in the world. Sony and Microsoft don't make their own chips. They buy them from AMD. AMD makes great chips, but they are designed for big boxes with big power supplies. They aren't as efficient as what Apple is doing. Apple can get more power out of a tiny piece of silicon than anyone else. For years, we laughed at the idea of Apple gaming. We remembered the Pippin console from the 90s, which was a disaster. We looked at Apple Arcade and saw simple mobile games. We thought Apple didn't get gamers. But that was our mistake. Apple wasn't failing, they were practicing. They were building an ecosystem. They were waiting for their chips to get so fast that a fanless box could outperform a console from 3 years ago. Now, let's talk about the price. This is where the killer part comes in. A PlayStation 5 Pro is expected to be very expensive. Even a base PS5 is $500. Then you have to buy the games for $70 each. You have to pay for an online subscription. By the time you are done, you have spent $1,000. Apple is looking at that and seeing an opportunity. They can sell the Apple TV for $200. They can do this because they make money on the services. They want you in their world. They want you to have an iPhone, an iPad, and an Apple TV. If the hardware is cheap, more people buy it. If more people buy it, more developers will make games for it. For a long time, developers didn't put big games on the Apple TV because not enough people were using it for gaming. But if the 2026 model is as powerful as the leaks suggest, that changes. If there are 40 million people with a mini console in their living room, Ubisoft and Capcom will bring their biggest games to the platform. This is a massive shift in how we think about home entertainment. We are moving away from the big box model. We are moving toward the smart hub model. The Apple TV is becoming the brain of the house. It is small, it is efficient, and it is powerful enough to handle anything you throw at it. But as I said, the gaming power is only half the story. There is something even deeper happening. Apple is playing a game of chess while everyone else is playing checkers. They aren't just looking at the hardware specs. They are looking at the neural side of things. They are looking at how AI can change the way we see images. They are looking at how the device connects to your other Apple products. They are turning the living room into a spatial computing zone. Think about the traditional console. It is a lonely device. It connects to your TV and that's it. Maybe it connects to a headset if you pay another $500. But the Apple TV is part of a family. It talks to your iPhone. It talks to your AirPods. It talks to your Apple Watch. In 2026, it will talk to the Vision Pro. This connectivity is a wall that Sony and Microsoft cannot climb. They don't have the phones. They don't have the watches. They don't have the ecosystem. The 2026 Apple TV is the final piece of the puzzle. It is the device that connects the mobile Apple to the home Apple. It bridges the gap. It takes the power of the iPhone and gives it the stability of a home console. It takes the simplicity of a streaming box and gives it the depth of a gaming PC. This is why the tech world is nervous. This is why the leaks are causing so much talk. We are seeing the birth of a new kind of device. It's a convergence device. It's a machine that does everything. And it does it for a price that makes the competition look greedy. As we move closer to 2026, the picture is becoming clear. Apple didn't ignore gaming. They just waited until they could win. They waited until they had the best silicon. They waited until the competition got expensive and stagnant. And now, they are ready. The sleeping giant is awake. The little black box is about to change everything. But to truly understand why this device will go viral, we have to look at the brain. We have to look at the rumored N1 chip. We have to look at how AI is going to fix the biggest problem in entertainment, the internet. In the next part, we will dive into the neural advantage. We will see how Apple plans to make your cheap TV look like a movie theater screen. We will see how they are removing buffering from our lives forever. This is just the beginning of the thermal revolution. The A17 Pro inside the Apple TV is just the spark. The real fire starts when the software and the AI take over. The industry is right to be furious. They are right to be scared. Because for $200, Apple isn't just selling a product. They are selling the future. And in that future, the giant, loud, expensive console has no place. Stay tuned, because the 2026 Apple TV 4K is not just an upgrade. It is an execution of the old way of doing things. It is the arrival of the new king of the living room.